Okay, so hello to everyone. I hope that you can hear me well. I am Adrian. I'm the general manager of the KPI Institute, and for the upcoming 45 minutes to 1 hour, I will be your host, facilitating one of the most interesting sessions that we deliver as part of our certification programs, particularly the Certified KPI Professional, and that's about understanding performance management tools. And we are going to connect this with the relationship between strategic objectives, KPIs, and initiatives. This being one of the main challenges organizations are facing nowadays. Now, as of start, just to give you a heads up of my background, I'm working in the KPI Institute from the very beginning. I've set the basis of the company together with the owner of the company many years ago in Melbourne, Australia, and then I moved to Europe. Now I'm in Romania, in lockdown, of course, same as everyone, I guess. And we set an operational office here. The KPI Institute, however, apart from the office in Europe and headquarter in Melbourne, Australia, operates other couple of offices, one in Kuala Lumpur for Southeast Asia region and one in Dubai for MENA region particularly, and has a extensive network of partners across the globe in over 14 countries, among which, of course, in Saudi, we work with several partners. Empower is one of the most appreciated ones. And I like to thank them for inviting me to have this webinar for their audience. What we are doing at the KPI Institute? Well, we are a research-based organization providing end-to-end solutions in strategy and performance management, starting from research and continuing with education, training, consultancy, audit, and so on. But particularly today, we are going to focus on our educational programs and on particular topics and challenges in strategy and performance management. Um, the KPI Institute, among other things, is operating one of the largest databases with resources at the global level, if not probably the largest. And the clients and students that participate in our programs that are listed here, we have over 12 certifications that we are running, all cluster around one particular topic, performance. So performance in every aspect of organizational context. Are benefiting from the access to this extensive platform with resources, KPIs, and many other things. So these are a few things that you can consider if in the future you will join our programs. It's not just the insights and education, it's also about the resources, templates, platforms, and everything that we make available for you. This being said, and without further ado, I would move on, prefer to move on straight forward into the discussion and a few insights about the topics of the day. Just to confirm that everyone can hear me clear, maybe you can raise a hand just to make me aware if everything is fine. Is it working properly? Okay, excellent. Thank you, Reem, for that. So straight into the topic, performance management. Well, performance management started to take shape as a discipline over 30 years ago. Of course, many things happened in between. However, there's still a lack of understanding and a lack of standardization in the field of strategy and performance management. Hence, why I've picked this topic for today discussion, if you want so. I would like to start by clarifying first what is the difference between performance management and performance measurement? Because here, a lot of professionals do not clearly make the difference or distinguish between the two. To make it clear from the start, performance management is the overarching discipline that deals with everything related to how you manage an organization, from putting a strategic plan and defining the strategy of the organization up to its execution. That's an umbrella that covers pretty much everything under the topic of performance management. Now, measurement, on the other hand, is a important pillar or subcomponent of the performance management capability, if you want so. And this allows us to identify, track, and communicate results through the use of KPIs. So as we are going to see together today, basically the KPIs, the key performance indicators, are tools that make the connection between the organizational strategy or any entity strategy and the actions, the projects, the initiatives that they put in place. So now you should be able to see my screen again. Good. So moving forward, to better understand performance management, well, we need to have clarity around the main tools that are used in this field. And this is one of the things that we'll do next. Now, when you design and when you deploy a performance management system in any given organization, many times this is done without proper communication. And when this is happening, people sort of say, perceive this with a certain reluctance. Yes, they will say, okay, but another system, don't we have enough? Why do we need this balance scorecard or performance management, or how you call it? Why do they need to measure our performance and so on and so forth? Well, performance management is not about reinventing the wheel in the first place. Performance management, it's about having a better structure, alignment, integration, and use of what is already in place, as you can clearly see also from the slides. So we have budgets, we have communications, we have dashboards, we have discussions, we have forums, we have goals, we have KPIs, we have meetings, we have objectives, we have all these things that are listed here actually in alphabetical order. However, they are not used in an integrated way in the organization. And that's the trick when it comes to deploying an integrated performance management system. It's about creating a red thread to which all the other system will be connected. Look at the performance management system like at the structure of our body, yes, like the central system of our body, if you want, to which all the other systems are connected. Yes, the lungs, the kidneys, the heart, and so on and so forth. Same should be perceived performance management in an organizational context, like
Excuse
the
me?
red to which pretty much everyone is connecting to.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Could you please speak slowly?
Okay, so okay, I will try to speak slowly.
Thank you.
Okay, good. And I think that anyhow, we are going to have access to the recordings from our host, Empower, and of course, you can move on and review the the discussion later on. Uh, Feedback being taken, let's move a little bit further with our discussion, and to put a little bit things into more context. Now, it seems that you have access to the sound, which is very good. And I would like to have a little bit of your participation. And please let me know what you see in this image. So what is this image about? What do you see in this image here?
It's useless when it's not connected, everything all
Okay.
together.
Yeah, so it's a system. It's a what? A meat grinder. Yes, a meat mincer. Generally, we use it for doing the kebab or things like this. This is an exemplification of grandma's tool in a way or another. Yes, I've inherited a couple of these from my grandma. Now we have the modern ones. But as you were mentioning correctly, if these components of the system are not assembled in the proper way, or if something is missing, or if something is not very well tight or sharpened, it will not work, or it will not work properly. Yes, pretty much you'll end up in one of these three scenarios. You'll put a lot of effort, but with no result, because things are not integrated and the system will not work. You'll put a lot of effort with limited results. Yes, this is another context in which some of the organizations will fall. Yes, so they have things happening here and there, but still not integrated in order to see all the results. And of course, there's also the option in which you'll put a lot of effort and the results are coming as you are expecting. However, what you do not know is the fact that you can achieve the same results, but with less effort. So even when we talk about companies that are performing very well, still performance management is something that allows them, by measuring properly how they are achieving their strategy, to streamline the way they are doing things. So performance management overall, it's about trying to have everything integrated as a system, which means that working in isolation is not the best option. And when we implement performance management systems, we should try to do them top down, vertically and horizontally across the entire organization. So we make the system work as a whole. A system which works as a whole is more powerful than the sum of its parts, definitely. So that's something that have to be acknowledged by professionals when you apply such systems in organizations. And the cascading of the strategy and alignment to the strategy should be done across all organizational levels in order to grasp all the synergies of such sort of implementations. And even organizations that are doing very well, they have definitely something to improve. So performance management, talking about this, it's about continuous improvement. It's not about, okay, we've achieved a certain level and here we are and now we can go and have fun at the beach because everything is perfect. If you really want to grasp all the synergies, you can stretch it further and further and further, and improvement will come together with it, of course. Now, in order to be able to design such a system that is integrated across the board, it's very important to have a proper understanding of the tools that will be integrated as part of this system. And here comes one of the largest challenges organizations are facing nowadays. The fact that there is no proper understanding of the tools and instruments used as part of deploying or designing a performance management architecture. This comes, of course, because the performance management discipline is still young. 20, 30 years is actually, for a discipline, not such a large time frame. Yes, we have older capabilities in the organization, yes, like finance, accounting, project management, and so on. So it's still in the process of cooking, if you want so. Therefore, this lack of standardization. However, what we can do is to have a shared understanding of the tools and to make sure that everyone will align to the same way of relating to the tools used as part of a performance management system. Actually, this will be one of my recommendations, or one of my first recommendations I can make to you whenever you are deploying a performance management architecture, or even if you are reviewing it, because I'm pretty sure that some of you or many of you already are part of organizations that run performance management architectures. It is very important to make sure that everyone talks the same language. So when the KPI Institute is invited to support different clients, one of the first things that we do is to train at least the key stakeholders, if not as many people in the organization as possible, to be aligned to the same concepts, to the same understanding of the instruments of what's going to happen and what's happening. Talking about this, what we are going to do next together is to try to understand a little bit better and to align, if you want, to the best practices at the global level in terms of the main instruments and tools that are used as part of designing a performance management system. And what you have here listed on the right-hand side, if you want so, I think that is the same for your view. It's a set of around 12, 13 tools that are used as part of a performance management system, and they are listed in alphabetical order, as you can see, from goal to KPI. KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator, initiative, metric, milestone, mission, program, objective, target, task, value driver. Value statements are the values, organizational values, and the vision. Yeah, and on the left hand side you have a description if you want, or an example of these tools. Now what we have to do together is to try to make sense of this and to try to see which description fits with what tool, and this is what we are going to do next. In order to do this, I'm going to share a new screen, if you want so, which allows us to work a little bit easier with these concepts. And I'll make sure that I have the chat available as well. Good. So now you should see this Excel file, which has the same exercise. And what we'll try to do together is to match the tools with the right description. We'll start with the first one, and then we'll make our way towards the bottom, if you want. I will invite you either to write what you think is the proper answer either in the chat, or if anyone would like to just speak, they can do it freely and give it the try. So let's see, 80%. What do you think it is? What do you think that it reflects? Hmm?
Target.
Yes, very good. So well done. 80% is a target. What is a target, first of all? Well, a target is the desired level we want to achieve in relation with what we want to measure with a KPI, yes. So if you are, let's say, percentage customer satisfaction 40%, we want to increase because this is a KPI we track good when increasing. And we can say that our target is 80%. All the time, a target will be a number because KPIs are measurable expressions, which means that they are quantitative, yes, which means that they need to be reflected through a number. So irrespective if it is a percentage or currency related or just a pure number or ratio, it's going to be represented with some figures, yes. So in this case, 80% is an example of a target. Good. Let's move further. What about the number of employees? What do you think it is? Hmm? Any ideas? Number of
Manpower.
employees. Can you repeat, please?
The manpower.
Manpower, yes, it's manpower, but in terms of the tool, what tool it represents from the ones that we have. So someone said that is an objective, number of employees. Well, it's not an objective, but it's not a milestone, number 5. It's not a value driver either, number of employees. So employees, manpower, human resources. It's not a KPI. It can be a KPI. Yes.
Is it a metric?
Yes, it is a metric. And I will make the clarifications for you, so do not worry, because what is the plan, guys, with this exercise is to run through it in isolation if you want. I will try to make some connections, of course, and then I will show you how all these tools are used in an integrated way as part of a system. So we are going to create the knowledge as we are going to move on as part of this short session that we have together. So it is a metric. What is a metric, first of all? Something we can measure. Anything that we can measure and we can attach a number to is a metric. Metric actually comes from the Greek word metron, which means to measure. And it's the preferred way to name the measurable expressions, if you want so. Now, I will come back to the metric and I will tell you why it's a metric and is not a KPI. But let's first look at the next one, percentage customer satisfaction. What do you think it is? Now, yes, number of percentage of customer satisfaction. It's a KPI. Yes, it's an example of a KPI. What is a KPI? Well, a KPI is something you can measure reflecting performance. So in other words, a KPI is a metric with a target attached. This in very big lines. Of course, a KPI should have many other components such as limitations, definition, calculation, thresholds, and many other components which will define it as a KPI. But the major components of a KPI, first of all, it needs to be a measurable expression. So at the core, it needs to be a metric. and it needs to reflect something that you want to achieve, to reflect performance improvement, which means that this is a target that you have to attach. So metric plus a target makes a KPI. Now, look at this, think of this expression. All KPIs are metrics, but not all metrics will be KPIs or are KPIs. So basically, from everything that you can measure, you are going to select only those metrics that will empower you to take better decision making and to improve performance whenever you need to achieve anything as part of your strategy or as part of improving a certain process or different other things. So all KPIs are metrics at the core. Not all metrics will be selected and measured as your KPIs. It's only the ones that really counts, and hence the other challenge professionals are facing, how to select from everything that can be measured those metrics that make more sense for them as part of empowering them to take better decision making, which is another topic of discussion. Now, this means that even number of employees can become a KPI if you pick it, select it, attach a target to it, and connect it to an objective. Yes, but here we are talking at this point, let's say in isolation, about popular examples. So popularly, number of employees will not be used as a KPI. It's going to be used just with as a simple metric without any target attached to it. Everyone will need to know how many employees they have in an organization. On the other hand, customer satisfaction, it's one of the most popular examples of KPIs used by most of the organizations at the global level. However, looking into the current context, and yes, we are in lockdown and we are suffering as organizations also. We started to maybe to downsize in many industries, which means that for a certain period of time, number of employees will become an important KPI for some organizations, actually for quite a lot of them. Yeah. Which means that they will have an objective to downsize the workforce, and one of their KPIs will be number of employees, which may be from 1,000. As an example they have now, they will need to downsize to 500. So they will take actions in order to make this happening. And for a particular period of time, this metric number of employees will become an important KPI for many organizations, just to make the connection between a metric and a KPI. Good. Moving further, because the time is very crude with us today. We have like 45-50 minutes. Let's look at the next one, customer service development program. What do you think it is?
Program.
Yes, as the name. If as the name, it is a program. On short, what is a program? A program is sort of say a cluster of several projects or initiatives that are aiming the same direction. So instead of having multiple projects floating around, you'll group them under a program. A program generally have a start date, but not necessarily an end date. So it can go forever or it can go up to a certain point in time. On the other hand, the initiatives or the projects, let me put a slash here, projects, the difference between them and the programs is the fact that they have a start date, but they also have an end date very clearly defined and specific outputs that have to be generated as part of them. So several projects put together that are aiming the same direction can be grouped into a program. This is how you can make and distinguish between the two. Moving further, complete 50% of the training by 30th of June.
It's a goal.
It's not a goal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an objective.
Task.
It's not a task, but you are close, you know. So miles, it's a milestone. Yeah, it's a milestone. What is a milestone? It looks like an objective. It looks like a target, if you want, because it has the number within. So this is why it's confusing. But it clearly reflects a certain stage within a project. Complete 50% of the trainings by 30th of June. So it's one stage within a project which have to deal with training delivery pretty much. Yeah. So it is a milestone. What is a milestone? A milestone defines a main stage within a project or initiative. This is what a milestone is. Good. If this is a milestone, let me put it this way. What will be the project for which this is a milestone from what we have listed here? Hmm? Customer service training. That will be the initiative, the project. Yeah. And as part of this project, we need to complete 50% of the training by 30th of June. So it's a milestone within this project. What about the task? What will be the task from this list? Hmm? Who would like to share their opinions? Come on, don't be shy. Identify key competencies to improve for customer service representatives. Yes, so that's a task. What is a task? The most granular activity that you can complete as part of a project or of an initiative. That's what a task is. So in order to have these trainings, one of the tasks is to identify key competencies in order to understand what you need to train and what sort of skills you need to improve for these customer service representatives. So the task is the most granular activity within a project. Multiple tasks can be grouped into a milestone. Several milestones will make up a project or an initiative, and several projects or initiatives can be grouped under a program. So for example, we have this customer service development program. One of the projects, as we've discussed, is customer service training. But of course, we can have other projects such as customer service centers development, customer relationship management system, CRM system deployment, and you can name them. So multiple projects will be grouped under this program, and each of these will have several stages of implementation and multiple tasks that you need to complete as part of these projects. But this is, of course, more related now with the project management. And project management, by the way, it's an important capability which is complementing performance management overall. Moving further a little bit, let's see, what about integrity? What do you think it is? Integrity. It's not a value driver, it is a value. Yeah, and here professionals they have hard times to distinguish between values and value drivers, because you see here is the confusion. Most of you mentioned value or value driver. Well, it is a value if you want, or value statement. What is the difference between values and value drivers? First of all, very simple. A value, it's reflecting a behavior. Yes, the way you are behaving, pretty much. That's how values are. So you are integral, you are transparent, you are honest with everyone. So these are values. Yeah. And generally they are translated at individual level into the behavioral framework. Yes, the values. Yes, beliefs influencing behaviors, in even in better words put it, beliefs influencing behavior, what you are believing in. Yeah. On the other hand, value drivers, sometimes also called key success factors, or you'll find other names, are characteristics of your business that allows you to understand how you create value for your stakeholders. What are those things basically that define your operations, your business? What you need to focus on? Is it quality important? Well, then that will be one of your major value drivers. Is innovation something that defines you? Then this should be one of your value driver. Is customer centricity something that defines your operation? Well, that's another value driver. So things such as quality, innovation, customer centricity, flexibility, speed, cost reduction, profitability, yeah, knowledge sharing are examples of value drivers, and these value drivers will be nicely used once you identify them to pretty much translate a high-level strategy into very specific objectives. quality, improve the quality of services offered, innovation, increase creativity and innovation, customer centricity, improve customer experience, profitability, maximize profitability, speed, optimize service delivery, and so on and so on. Yeah. So value drivers are characteristics of our businesses, and they are very nice ways to make the connection between a high-level strategy and the specifics of how you are going to execute it on a one-year basis through defining a clear set of objectives. It drives you nicely to translate this strategy by identifying the value drivers into objectives, as I've exemplified for you. This being said, and I think that I already provided the answer, what about increased customer satisfaction? What it is? Hmm? It's not a goal,
Objective.
but definitely it's an objective. Now, this is one of the last things that I'm going to share with you today, but just to clarify from now, all the time an objective will start with an action verb, because an objective reflects how you do in terms of what you've planned. So increase, maintain, develop, structure, maximize, minimize, everything that defines how you do things, yes, will be basically translated as part of an objective. So an objective all the time will start with an action verb. And when you have such a statement, it's clear that it's an objective. Now, unfortunately, many are making the confusion at the global level. I'm talking between goals, objectives, and targets. Yeah. Now, a goal is not an objective. A goal is not a target. A goal is what? A goal is a strategic direction, strategic pillar, strategic theme, or in other words, a high-level translation of your strategy. This is what goals are if you want to Okay, sorry, but I didn't, if it was addressed to me, I didn't understand. Unfortunately, I do not know Arabic. Uh, so if goals are a high level translation of the strategies, this means that growth for the business is what? It is a goal, of course. So how you grow the business? Let me put it this way. Goal is, it acts for the objectives same as a program acts for a project. It's a clustering tool for several objectives put in the same place. So by improving employee skills and competencies and okay, someone is playing here. You'll be able to improve the quality of services delivered, and this will allow you to increase the customer satisfaction, and this will allow you in turn to maximize profitability, and so you'll be able to grow the business pretty much. So it's a clustering tool for several objectives that are aiming the same direction. In this case, grow for the business, it's that goal or strategic direction. Good. And last two things, to be the world's leading company. What do you think it is? Well, the mission or the vision. It's indeed the vision. Answering the question, where do you want to be? Yes, to be the world's leading or to be number one or to be the best. That's the vision. The answer is the vision. And on the other hand, the mission, why, what is the purpose of your existence? Why do you exist? Answering this question gives you the mission. Good, excellent. Now, as I've promised to you, I was saying that we'll try to put them in a certain sequence. So here we go. That's the idea with these instruments. So as they are using a performance management system, we'll have the strategy. Generally, it's a 10, 20, 30, 100 pages document as a strategic plan. Of course, it's important to have a one-page, two-pager reflection of the strategy, which is, let's say, the short version of the strategic plan. We call it in the KPI Institute the desired state of evolution. It's very important to have the strategy defined on one, two-pager, because strategies are meant to be communicated. This means that 100 pages, very hard to communicate. 1, 2-pagers, very easy to communicate across the organization. Strategies, high level, have to be translated through objectives. And the tool that visualize all these objectives is the strategy map. An example that you have shared here. Generally, this is based on the 4 balanced scorecard perspectives, but other organizations can have different other perspectives. Not only the financial, customer, internal processes, learning and growth, but they can even name them differently. This is the doing part, the objectives. Now we need to check how we do. And this is done through the use of KPIs. And regarding to the KPIs part, we are going to visualize the KPIs through scorecards and dashboards. Yes, on one hand, we have the scorecards, which is reflecting the strategic KPIs and allows us to see the connection between the objectives and KPIs. And on the other hand, we have the dashboards, which is generally a supporting tool for the scorecards. And in dashboards, you have any subordinate measures used in the scorecards or metrics or things that you'll generally need to look for on an operational basis. Scorecards and dashboards are two concepts that are many times used interchangeably. However, my recommendation is to use them in a complementary way. So both in the same, so both tools to be designed as part of the same architecture. The scorecards reflects the objectives and the strategy. They will be reviewed once a month, once a quarter. The dashboard, it's pretty much reflecting all the metrics, subordinate measures of the main KPIs, or anything else that you need to track and have an eye on, or as part of a more operational approach whenever you need. Today you look into some KPIs, tomorrow you look into other KPIs or metrics, the day after you look into another set, just for quickly operational decision making. It's pretty much working similar with a car dashboard. Yes, so you have the GPS in the car that shows you the direction from point A, you need to move to point B. That's the scorecard pretty much. And then as part of reaching from point A to point B, you need to drive the car, you need to look at the road, but in the same time, you need to take all sorts of actions. Yes, you need to brake, you need to accelerate, you need to be attentive with the speed, with the fuel, with the tire pressure, and with other components which are operational in nature and allows you to keep the system or the car functional in this case and be able to reach your destination. So that's the difference between the scorecard and the dashboard. And of course, you'll have the portfolio of initiatives, which is the other important component of a performance management architecture. The initiatives are connected with the objectives, of course, same as the KPIs are connected with the objectives in the scorecard. But here, of course, we do not have the KPIs, we just have the initiatives connected with the objectives. So all the time, the common denominator will be the strategy and the objectives. Objectives with KPIs in the scorecard, objectives with initiatives in the portfolio of initiatives. And the KPIs will make pretty much the connection between the objectives and KPIs. The KPIs act like our hands and our body in terms of how pretty much you translate a strategy through numbers. So you'll be able to see what is the impact of your projects in terms of achieving these objectives. Did you reach your destination? How far you are? What is the impact of your initiative? What you need to do in order to move from where you are to where you want to be. So that's the purpose of KPIs. If you do not have KPIs, you can just guess. Well, if we do that, we'll achieve that. But when you have the KPIs in place, it will be much clearer where you are, where you position yourself, and what you need to do in order to achieve your destination. Now, in order to conclude this, I will play for you a video, and I will finalize afterwards with a couple of recommendations before we close, and we can take some questions if there are any. In a way, our whiteboard drawing was disturbed by external factors. So I will play for you a video which pretty much and nicely will conclude exactly what I've tried to share with you, and at some point that was not possible any longer. So let me just stop the sharing and let me play the video for you. And I hope that this will nicely conclude and it will add up to the missing information from the previous explanation.
Scorecards, dashboards, objectives, KPIs are all examples of conceptual tools that can be used to monitor and improve performance. KPI selection, data gathering, and performance reporting are processes that make use of such tools. Software such as Microsoft Excel and hardware such as whiteboards are tangible tools that streamline the above-mentioned processes and conceptual tools. A key aspect is, how should they be connected to an integrated manner so that we make the most out of them? The solution is the configuration of an integrated system that links all such tools, processes, underlying infrastructure, and responsible persons for using them. This is the essence of performance architecture, designing functional performance systems. To be successful in building performance systems, you need both quality components and a smart architecture of connections and interdependencies. Some of the key building blocks of performance systems are brought together from different disciplines: strategy, performance management, project management, and process management. They are destination, mission statement, why you exist; vision statement, where you want to be; value statements, beliefs that influence organizational behavior; core strategy, value drivers, characteristic of operational activities that reflect how value is generated for stakeholders; objective, specific reflection of what we need to achieve as part of our journey towards vision attainment; goal, clustering tool for objectives linked around the same theme; measurement, metric, quantifiable expression of something we can measure; KPI, metric reflecting performance; target, specific level we want to achieve in relation to a KPI; action, portfolio, collection of all projects; program, clustering tool for projects linked around the same theme; initiative or project, activity with start dates and specific outputs to be generated; milestone, main task stages within a project; processes, succession of steps in delivering outputs of day-to-day operations. Understanding such tools is an important prerequisite for designing their integration within performance systems.
Okay, so that's pretty much to conclude what I've tried also to draw for you, and I hope that now it makes a little bit more sense. Now, to finalize the session, of course, let me just share with you the screen again. And I will go towards the last slide. And there's a few things that I want to give you as an advice, of course, here. So, as recommendations when you work with objectives, KPIs, and initiatives. First of all, for the objectives, start them with a verb. All the time objectives should start with a verb. They reflect how you do in terms of what you have planned. Increase, maintain, optimize, and so on and so forth. So objectives should start with a verb. On the other hand, when you work with initiatives, you should not start them again with a verb. This is what creates a lot of confusion. And that's a challenge that I came across all over the globe. The fact that both objectives and initiatives are starting with an action verb, and this creates confusion. Instead of ending up with a set of objectives as part of your strategy, you are ending up with all sorts of things such as initiatives, tasks, milestones, and so on. So a simple way to avoid this is to start all the time the objectives with an action verb. Action verbs reflect how you do in terms of what you've planned. And when it comes to initiatives, start them with the name of the initiative. Such as, in this example, CRM, Customer Relationship Management Software Implementation. Other examples, fleet modernization, customer service survey deployment, name it, new facility development, yeah, ERP system implementation, yeah, e-learning platform development. So start with the name of the project. We do not even need to end in English, of course, the phrase with a verb. You can just leave the name of the project. And then it will be very easy to understand that, okay, this is the initiative, that's the project, and this project will serve to increase customer satisfaction, to optimize service delivery, to enhance quality of services provided, to maximize profit, and whatever you want to do as part of achieving your strategy. On the other hand, when it comes to KPIs, here a lot of people again are using all sorts of terminologies and ways of expressing them. At the KPI Institute, we recommend you to use 3 symbols to start your KPI names with. And these are the ones that are listed here on this slide. A $sign for everything that is related to currency, percentage for everything that is percentage, as calculated as part of the calculation formula. So if you have multiplied by 100%, that's a percentage. So everything that is a percentage, you can start it with the symbol. And what else is not a percentage or value, you can use the hashtag from number. So these are the 3 simple symbols that can be used as part of defining your KPIs and even metrics names. What also I will recommend you to do is to start a KPI name with a capital letter. So all the time start with a symbol, capital letter. Also, these symbols are serving to try to avoid replicating again and again and again things such as percentage of. You do not need to write percentage of customer satisfaction, percentage of employee satisfaction, percentage of employee engagement, percentage of, I don't know, hotel occupancy rate. We'll just use the symbol and then the name of the KPI, and this is how you read it if you want, so percentage of. Same with the numbers. You do not need to write number of employees, number of training programs, number of training hours per year per employee. You'll just put the symbol and then the name of the KPI without replicating any longer number of. This will allow you also to keep your KPI name short, clear, concise, easy to use, easy to manage. So these are a few things that definitely will empower you to try to have a easier and clear structure designed and to avoid any sort of confusion between these 3 major components of a performance management architecture, which are the objectives reflecting the strategy, KPIs reflecting how you measure the achievement of these objectives, and the initiatives, which are the actions, the projects enable you to meet the KPI targets and meet your objectives, of course. Yeah. So that's in terms of this part. Good. Now, for the last, pretty much this is what I want to share with you for the day. Definitely, we'll try to organize some more webinars with our partners from Empower, and hopefully we're not going to be disturbed any longer by external parties. However, I will make myself available for any type of questions in a short time. I just want you to remember that at the KPI Institute, we are pretty much covering all these topics, and we are developing them as part of a series of certification programs that I do invite you to consider, and maybe why not join them in the future. What I've shared with you, just on a short note, of course, is part of the Certified KPI Professional, which is the most popular program treating this topic at the global level. But as you can see, there are many other topics that relate to performance management, such as strategy and business planning, performance management, performance audit, data analysis, data visualization, and so on. These are also topics that are covered as part of our certification programs. Definitely, we are going to make a new session, and I will try to explore more with you. I'd like to thank you very much for your patience, first of all, and for your understanding, and wish you all the best and best of performance. Thank you very much for taking your time and accessing this short introspective into the world of performance management, understanding performance management tools, and the role of objectives, KPIs, and initiatives as part of it. Thank you very much. Good. So now if there are any questions, I will be gladly take on them. Okay, a lot of thanks. These are appreciated, definitely. It's 1 hour, guys, so not even. Yeah, in 1 hour, unfortunately, that's what we could cover. But as part of the programs that we are running, these topics are addressed in much more detail, of course. I think that here we'll take these questions. What are the certification track for such course? I do not necessarily understand what is the question about in terms of the process of getting certified. Well, we have like these certifications have 3 components: pre-course, course, and after course or post-course assignments with a test as well, and they are all run in live online starting from the last 3 weeks. So we switched to live online. It's working beautifully. We had a lot of sessions so far with a lot of people, most of them from Saudi Arabia, of course from the rest of the world as well. But there is a huge interest in Saudi Arabia, and I'm very thankful for that. Also because of the Vision 2030 and everything that's happening in the country in the last few years. What is the difference between vision and mission? Vision, where you want to be. Mission, why do you exist? So answering the question where you want to be, that's the vision. Why do you exist is the mission. The purpose of your existence is the mission. Good. Other questions? Well, mainly each organization should have a vision. Yeah. But this depends if you are a holding group or so, you can have a vision for the whole group, and then each company within the group, they might have different sort of say industry that they are tackling with. They might have a separate vision, however, should be connected to the main one of the holding company, if this is the case. Otherwise, if you are just an organization and you have just some departments and so on, you have a vision for the company. Some organizations I saw that they are developing as part of the department, so departmental strategy, the vision of the department. But even if you are defining it and you want to do that, it should be in alignment with the vision of the organization. That's pretty much the reference point, the organizational vision. However, you can build your own strategic architecture at lower levels as well if you want so. Okay. I'll try if I know how to. Yes, we have, Isha, several videos on the topic. You saw that I played one for you. It's actually part of one of our projects, and it was for Abu Dhabi Pensions Fund, and they were kind enough to release it to the public, so that's why I could play it for you. It was developed by us as part of their strategy communication campaign, and they are available on YouTube as well. All they are 11 or 12 video doodles. How to set right performance KPI to my team. Well, fair enough. Definitely this hour just is like the top of the iceberg, so didn't allow us to go into many details. But I do invite you to come in one of our programs, and definitely you will be able to learn how to select the KPIs and how to work with the KPIs, and you have the opportunity to practice this more. What is the most valuable certificate globally for performance management system specialist? 2 KPI general. Well, for KPI, I do not want to now sound that I don't know, to put a label on ours, but definitely ours has the largest coverage, the Certified KPI Professional program. We have a network of over 40, 50 partners across the globe. So we are delivering across the globe ourselves, but also we'll do it through our network of partners. And we are doing this for the last 10, 15 years, and we've trained thousands of professionals so far. So from these perspectives, checking all these boxes, definitely is one of the most popular, if not the most popular, from what I know. Other than that, in terms of general performance management, well, there are different topics: strategy and business planning from for the strategy part, performance management professional for the decision-making part, and there are bits and pieces that have to be connected together. In order to have a proper understanding of the topic, well, you'll need to take several of these certifications, starting from strategy to KPIs to performance management, and then you can look into different specific topics pretty much. Yeah. Something that unites them all, if you want, is the balanced scorecard certification, but this gives you just the pretty much allows you to understand the journey of developing or deploying a performance management system in an organization. It's like understanding how to create this backbone and how to structure it back towards the bottom. Okay. What else? Yes, it needs practice in real work. Definitely. So you'll need to put it into practice. If you do not put it into practice, it's not going to work. Okay, make host. Yes, good. Other questions? Well, I've tried to provide you rich information. I'm glad that you are saying this. As you saw, we had some disturbances that were not our fault, as some settings maybe that were not checked there. So this a little bit made us to stay on hold. But other than that, the time is very short. I can and I can talk on this topic maybe for a very long period of time. This is just not even the top of the iceberg. It's just the very peak of it, sort of. But I'm glad that you feel that at least it makes sense what we've discussed. Or hopefully for most of you, because as I can see, there are still a lot of people online, even if we are past the allocated time, which is beautiful. This means that makes a lot of sense what we've discussed. Yes, we have workshops. We have workshops at the KPI Institute. We do not deliver only trainings. We offer end-to-end solutions. So we have performance management system implementations that were done from governmental level up to non-for-profit organizations. Yeah, I was even invited in some workshops with the Vision 2030 a few years back. I know a lot of people from ADA, and we work with a lot of other governments in the region and in other countries as well. But workshop. When it comes to KPIs, let me put it this way as a recommendation. KPIs is not a subject that, or is not something that has to be selected as an individual exercise. So when you want to select KPIs and design an architecture, this needs to be done with all the stakeholders in the organization, at least the main ones. You cannot put a person to make the KPIs and the objectives and the initiatives for all the others. No, every single person in their own departments, they are employed there because they are experts in their field. So the KPIs are tools that support their decision making. Hence, this means that they are supposed to be developing these KPIs, and of course the strategy office and external consultants will have the role of facilitating this architecture blueprint design, if you want so. Yeah. Good. Any other questions, guys? If not, I guess that we can close the session here. Thank you very much once again for your time, for your contribution, and wish you best of performance. Thank you. Have a nice day. Stay safe with your families, and yes, best of performance. We'll need it.